Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of our exclusive aluminium catamaran tour series. We got permission to go deep into the design and construction of these true blue water cruisers to find out what makes them able to sail to extremely high latitudes where only monohulls or expedition vessels have previously ventured. I'll leave a link to part 1 in the description of this video, where you can see the extremely unique Cataruga catamaran with her enormous saloon area and the Explocat 52 by Garcia Yachts, who have been building aluminium sailboats since the 70s, so are the market leaders in this industry. In today's episode, we focus on the Vaan R5, which is aiming to change the way we look at boats by building with recycled materials. And then we visit our friends on Dawn Hunters, who show us what an older alloy cat looks like after a decade at sea. Okay, we are here with Igor. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You're
Welcome
the
aboard.
Owner and founder of Vaan.
Co-founder, yeah.
Co-founder,
Yeah.
so there's a few of you.
That's two of us, me and my wife.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How long have you been building boats?
We started Vaan in 2018 with the initial concept, launched the designs in early 2019.
And why aluminium?
One of the key reasons for us was sustainability. Aluminium is 100% recyclable, and in fact we went one step further that this is already 60 or higher percent recycled aluminium. Window frames, license plates, traffic signs. We partner with Hydro, who is one of the key manufacturers of aluminium, and they have a really good recycling program where they take in all that, from construction sites or tore down buildings, and then work it up in a very advanced process to bring it back to the 5083 alloy that we need for marine grade aluminium. Well, obviously there's other fantastic characteristics for a boat. It's stronger, safer, silent. That's what we say. Catamarans have a different, the way it takes the waves creates torsion between the two hulls. Fiberglass boats flex a lot, and that results in the interior creaking. This is so silent because it doesn't move, and that means the interior lasts longer, the boat lasts longer because it doesn't flex. And I don't know if you've noticed, we have massive glass windows. That is true glass. It's double insulated glass. So
Wow.
that's glass. Wow. And it's great thermal insulation. It's great acoustic insulation. And the reason why we can do 3 meters of that in a fiberglass boat, that glass would crack.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
But already you hear also the silence, right? It's sound insulation.
And so obviously for it to be so quiet in here, you've got insulation happening. What kind of insulation have you gone with on this boat?
Right, we have we use a glass wool, so it's actually a super yacht grade. They gun weld pins on the hull, and then they just stick that over. It has a damp foil on like a silvery, it's almost like a spaceship at that stage to keep the moist air away from the glass wool and of course the cavity. But if it's snug against the hull, it just remains completely moist-free.
And is it the same insulation in the engine room, or do you do something different in there?
We use it wherever we can, the glass wool, but then there's some parts where we use Armorflex. I don't know if you know this. This is like a black rubber. It's because we don't have the space, or the glass wool would be too fragile.
And you've got electric engines on here.
Yes.
How's that concept working out?
So it's a electric propulsion, but with a diesel backup generator, range extender, whatever you want to call it. So it's a hybrid setup in that sense. We dimension the power of the motors and the capacity of the batteries, and then the power of the generator, so that you can do, let's say, 4 to 6 hours of pure electric motoring, which is enough to go in and out of anchorages on a daily basis, or into the marina. But then if you do a long passage, or you need a delivery, or you can do the hybrid setup, so the diesel engine runs, it provides the power directly to the electric. It's the same voltage, etc. So then basically your diesel tank becomes your range definer. So it's about 4 to 6 days of 24-hour motoring.
And how much fuel do you have on board?
Well, in this case, it's about 600 liters of diesel. They're welded in tanks in the bottom of the hull. So one side is water, one side is diesel.
And you treat the inside of the water tank with some...
We do not. No, we
It's
do
just
not.
bare aluminium.
It's bare aluminium, yeah.
And that's the drinking water as well?
Yes, it's drinking water as well. Of course, you need some filtration. Aluminium yacht building has been going on in Holland for a long time. So there's a lot of experience on that, and there's some camps that say, no, you absolutely must treat, or you don't. Our findings say that usually it's the treatment of the tank that becomes the problem. And the safest and best and the least hassle you get from untreated, and then a small filter behind it just in case for, some parts.
What sort of propulsion have you got?
For the R4, which is a 42 foot, it's usually about 15 kilowatts times 2. And here it's usually 20, 25. But at the same time, it's really important that when you own a boat, you believe and trust your propulsion.
What about the corrosion or the galvanic protection, or
Right.
what have you got in place for that?
Simple things like isolation transformers, the proper anodes, how you treat contact between stainless steel and aluminium. It's not rocket science, to be honest.
And so to run these electric motors, you obviously have to have some sort of decent solar and lithium bank.
In this particular boat, it has a 22 kilowatt motors times 2. Normally you would equip that with a 22 kilowatt generator as well. So that means when the generator runs, you can run both motors at half speed, which is where they run most efficiently. Then effectively your diesel becomes the range definer. In this case, it doesn't have all that much solar, it's just 1.5 kilowatt peak. We can add another kilowatt on the roof, so you get to 2.5, and we add solar on the davits at the back, so you get to close to 4 kilowatt peak. We have a climate system on board, which is a heat pump, which is probably one of the biggest consumers usually of energy.
Absolutely.
But this heat pump will keep 2 hulls at 21 degrees in full sunlight for about 300 to 400 watts. So even with this limited solar, you can be at anchor for, 2 weeks, have the AC on all the time, 21 degrees in both hulls, and not ever run a generator. So it's not just about how you generate the energy, it's also about how you consume it.
What's the weight of this boat?
Right, light ship, it's about 15 tons. As it is equipped here with everything on board, it's 17 and a half.
Where would you place yourself in terms of cruising speed?
We just sailed the boat here from Barcelona, 20 knots of wind, upwind. We did 8.2 on average. So it's not a racer, so I wouldn't even say maybe performance, but it is a fast cruiser. Igor is obviously a very intelligent man, and I could have chatted about the engineering side of things with him all day, but it was time to get an actual tour of the boat, which is a 49-foot, 3-cabin owner's version layout. So currently we're in the saloon of the R5. One of the design philosophies was if you sit down on the seat, you want 360 view of the horizon.
Yeah, you've nailed it. Yeah. You went with the aft helm stations there,
That's
so the
right.
big windows help to see through and see out.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's for more protection in colder weather, or?
One of the reasons is because we want the boom low on the roof,
right?
Because the performance of the mainsail is then improved dramatically. To have a look at the owner's cabin, walk-in closet we sometimes call it. So these drawers are really, really deep, as you can see.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's really home size lockers and drawers. Behind it, you can take the back walls out in case you need to reach any of the infrastructure and the technology. But everything else, we always make accessible. This is part of boat life, right? You're not on your knees and trying to find something. It is properly located.
24-volt boat?
So the propulsion is 48, Everything else is 24. And then here is the owner's
wow.
bathroom. And when the sliding doors close, is a spacious toilet. I think that's comfort too. There's plenty of storage, and as you can tell, I'm 181, shrinking, but that's a spacious shower.
And these walls are just plywood, veneered plywood.
Yeah, the veneer is an HPL, so it's a very strong, scratch resistant, and again sustainable material. And that's marine grade plywood that is exposed in some places just because we like it that way. Little Scandinavian touch there.
So you've obviously got 3 watertight compartments in each hull, and you've got bilge pumps in each compartment, or everything?
Several. There's 5 in this per hull. The chances of you rupturing this hull are very, very small.
How thick's the aluminium below the waterline?
7 millimeters on the outside, let's say the skin of the boat, and then in the bottom there are some sections with 8, some with 10, and around the keel it's actually 20. So the ceiling, and in different areas we use recycled PET. It feels like a felt, so it's very soft. Again, acoustically it's really nice, thermo insulation, but they are recycled PET bottles, Coke bottles, full scale washer dry combo.
On my boat I have to have escape hatches. It's just a piece of glass glued in there. They actually got
with a hammer next to it.
Yeah, it's a requirement for a cat to have those, right?
There's debate about it. So we've been building since 2019. We've seen the CE regulations shift. So I think before it had to be openable, what you did, glue the glass in, I think that is part of the new one. While they are called safety hatches, there's enough videos out there to show that that is the unsafest spot of the boat. So I don't like them. We glue, also the new boats, we glue with a hammer, but this is still openable.
Yeah, yeah.
And people do like it for ventilation.
What's the bridge clearance on this boat?
Oh, there we go. I think it's about...
He's had a long day.
No. But the thing is, so the question isn't what is the bridge deck clearance. The question is, does it slam, right? That is why you want to know bridge deck clearance. But it has a lot to do with the hull shape in the front. It has a lot to do with the shape of the bridge deck, the angle of the front. Bridge deck clearance, I think it's 70 centimeters.
Which is solid.
Which is fine, but more importantly, it doesn't slam because of other considerations. So we don't have a cross bed in the front, which Lagoon does, and then they have to make this front almost like a wall, right? That's, if you ask me, that's dangerous. Central switchboard, I think it's important that they are not scattered throughout the boat. When people look at this, there's a good chance they're in panic, right? Because something has gone wrong. So labeling is important. So here you'll see the electric motor.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah, exactly, that's it.
Oh, looks like a pump.
It kind of is a pump, by the way.
I guess.
Oh, so it's like a sail drive setup.
This is a sail drive, yeah. We can also do shaft drive, but in this case, it's a sail drive.
And this was 22 kilowatts.
Correct. Well, one of the big things here is the isolation transformer. There's no galvanic connection between the shore and the boat.
Right.
And we have a floating ground, so there's actually no connection between anything electrical. We don't use the boat as a ground, for instance, as the zero or whatever you want to call it. And then there's a disconnect, complete disconnect between the shore and the boat as well. So that is the most obvious one.
Right. And you've got zinc anodes?
No, aluminium. Zinc is better for sweet water. Whenever it becomes brackish or salt, then aluminium, obviously a lower grade aluminium than we use, and we have 5 on each hull plus 1 on the propeller. Up here we have, of course, the aluminium roof. It's all aluminium except for that spoiler in the back where you see it's a black cloth around an aluminium frame just to save weight, and it's hollow inside. So we put most antennas in there, like the GPS or the AIS. It's away from the UV, and no lines get tangled around all that stuff. So it's uncluttered. Same with the handrail here. It's upside down, but it's made as a handrail.
It's an interesting sail track car setup there.
It's a furling boom, bi-furler boom, and this track comes off the mast as a little bit of sail, so it always is nicely aligned above the luff of the sail. It has never malfunctioned in any way. It's not my budget, but I would always get a furling boom.
And so that's an option.
Careful that you don't fall in.
I'll snap my arm.
Down in the forepeak, you can see the quality of the welds and get an idea of the frame spacing and stringers which give aluminium boats all of their strength. This design has a small but comfortable bow seating area that Igor says can double as a jacuzzi if you block the drains and fill her up.
So the anchor is nicely hanging under the bowsprit, which again is an aluminium bowsprit, of course. There's an opening, as you can see, so in case you need to reach it, attach the bridle, that's all easy to do, safe. And then the chain runs along to this windlass where it drops down into the aluminium casing. So that's the remote for the windlass, and you can see there's a hatch open there where you can inspect the chain and have a look at it.
And you've lined, what have you lined the anchor
Rubber.
chain locker with?
Just a big rubber mat. Back here we have one of the 2 garages. It runs all the way to the back wall there. That's where the engine was.
Oh, that's under the bed?
That's under the bed.
Ah.
This is the back generator. In front of it is the heat pump system.
What steering system you got?
It's a Yefa shaft steering system. You can see it actually on your side over there.
That goes to, splits and goes to 2 helms.
Right, it's all shaft. There's only a little bit of chain coming down from the wheel, and then it's shafts and gearboxes, which means super good feedback when helming. This is the joystick control for the electric propulsion. Normally you have 2 throttles, right? Throttles tell the motors what to do. The joystick tells the boat what to do. So if I rotate the boat left, the boat goes left. And if I rotate right, the boat. So it's a little bit more intuitive way of maneuvering the boat. And in anticipation of rotating sail drives, You could also do sideways movement, so lateral movement when you're docking the boat would just go sideways. So this is what we call the V grinder. It's actually inspired on the racers, you know, where they had the coffee grinders. What it does, it brings all the lines under the floor from the mast support all the way down back here, and it means that you can operate all the sails, reefing, all from the back here. These are 2 electric winches. We have complete copies of the helm, so you can operate the boat from each helm with the same systems. And so, for instance, when you're hoisting the main, you put the halyard on, you stand here, you have a fantastic view of the main, and just hoist it like that. If you're reefing, there's a furling line on this furler boom. You put it on the winches, and you reef single-handedly. I think it makes sailing super simple. We have a self-decking jib that comes here, the sheet. Then we have a Code Zero that does go there. So when you want to make it more sporty, as I said, the Genacor Code Zero, that goes to the back here, then to that turning block, and then up to here. The lines here are the main sheet, main sail sheet, and the main traveler. They are here and operated by the push buttons below.
Igor, thank you very much for the tour.
Thank you for being aboard.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. You've got an R4 and R5.
And now we're starting to build R6 and R8.
Well, she was a very impressive vessel indeed, and had a completely different look and style than the Cataruga and Explocat in part 1 of the series. These boats are built in the Netherlands, and the R5 starts at 1.68 million euro, ending up at around 2 million euros with the extras like the in-boom furling. I found it interesting that the 3 manufacturers so far had quite different opinions about things like the anodes, or the best insulation to use, or whether lining the water tanks was necessary or not. But what they all do agree on is that aluminium is the ultimate material for building blue water catamarans, which is why I was dying to talk to our final catamaran owner, as his boat has been sailing the 7 seas for the last decade, so I knew he would be able to give us a great insight into how the material lasts over time.
So the boat was built by the owner of Sparcraft Mast, and because he has a mast company in South Africa, they ship like 200 masts a month. The boat was built for his fishing fun and also for sales.
And so who designed the boat?
It was designed by Anton de Toit, the same designer that is designing balanced catamarans.
Right.
And it was called the AC-53 at the time, and then in 2016 it was launched. They raced and ran in regattas and beat the shit out of the boat. And then they started doing fishing charters up on Somalia, Tanzania, because of the speed. They could get offshore and get past the pirates and all the other shit. So the boat was then put in the marina for 3 years and wasn't touched. So when we came, the boat had been sitting for 3 years. So we spent a month and a half doing all of the absolutely required to be able to do the trip from South Africa to Thailand.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of where we live, this is our home, our base. So it got here, and 2 days later we put on the hard, and we stripped it down to the bare hulls. In hindsight, I don't think I would have gone so wild. You know, it's taken us a long time to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. But now I know what it is. I know it's designed for us.
And were there more of these built?
This is the only one. So now she's, 9-10 years in the water. She was in a huge storm. She got blown on top of the concrete docks. They looked into the marina, there were like 20 boats sunk, and they could see this one was there, and it was on an angle. Well, when they finally took all the boats out, they got there. Not a thing had happened with it except a few dents. We've got a stringer here, and a stringer here, and then in the middle is where it hit the concrete.
And that's all that happened?
That's all that happened. It's actually, that's the proper design, is it's supposed to bend, not rip or tear, and had it hit a stringer alone, and it may have hit the stringer and then slid over, but it's supposed to actually take that force and bend. Something's got to give, and it's better off to have the material readjust itself. I could have gone inside and beat it back out with a hammer, and I thought, you know what, I think I'll leave it there. It's kind of like history. So
do you think this boat could hit an iceberg at like 6 knots?
Well, as long as they hit it in the front, because the front has 20 mil all the way across the front and all the way down. But, you know, even the Titanic sunk. So to me, you know. And that's why we looked really hard. We had a steel motor sailor, the first Dawn Hunter. I come from the oil rig business offshore, and I just never felt comfortable in fiberglass. This boat, we drop the anchor, we go ashore. I guess it's real security, not a sense of false security. They don't make cargo ships out of fiberglass, you know. But I'm not dissing fiberglass, it has its purpose.
And funnily enough, William actually owns a Fontaine Peugeot Sabre 50 as well. But it's pretty clear which boat is his favourite of the two, and he's actually trying to sell the Sabre 50.
This is 10-year-old boat, and there's no paint on the outside, there's no blistering.
And is this 5083 aluminium?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's 5083, and it's 6.5 millimeter skin under the waterline. It's 5.5 millimeter skin above the waterline, and then it's 20 millimeter all the way along the gunnels. Because of having so many portholes, the 20 mil goes from here down to here, because that would have really reduced the integrity of the ship. So the best way to make it stronger is just, you know, over design it. And then the pilot house was made separate and then welded together on it. So it was made actually in 3 different sections.
Right. How many meters is this boat?
16 meter.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 8 meter wide,
Beam,
and
yeah.
it's got 1.5 meter for depth. Breakaway keels, but the keels do protect the sail drives, and each engine compartment is completely watertight. The boat is designed to go on the hard without any type of straps. It can sit on concrete or rock, because the back rudder posts come all the way through with 4 bearings, and the rudder post sits above the waterline. So it can sit on it does sit on the rudders and on the breakaway keels. So if you were to hit something really hard, the keel's going to snap off, go away, but it's not going to affect the hull. So that's why they're called breakaways. They're made to take a good blunt hit. If you were to hit a container in the front, there's 20 mil in the front of this boat, it's going to glide off that first impact and then hit the keel. It might raise some hell and knock the keel off, but essentially all of those areas are going to be hit before you expose your sail drive.
And how many tons this boat?
It's 16, fully loaded, fully wet. So she's light, she's fast, very skinny, narrow hulls. And that is not for a lot of people, because when I say skinny, you're like sardines down there. But that's why she actually slices through the water. So the lower helm station is required in a lot of passages, because you're taking waves right over the top of the boat. She's not doing like what you see with a lot of the fiberglass boats. She's slicing the wave. Water's coming over the top of the net, wrapping all around you, and you're inside kind of like smiling, you know.
Do you want to take us on a little tour?
That's where do you want to go? Up top first?
You're leading it.
Well, let's go up to the top first,
Okay.
before it gets too hot. We have 4 watertight bulkheads in the boat that if you were to hit something, you've got enough buoyancy that you're not going to have the effect of going down like a lot of boats. Probably my second favorite to the platform. We use this guy constantly. So we have the ability to lower the ladder into the water, checking anchor. We bow up onto the sand. You walk onto the island, you're not disembarking off the back.
And you use this all the time, yeah?
We use this constantly. Sometimes you go on a mooring ball and it gets twisted around. You drop this down and you just go.
So off camera, I almost fell straight down the stairs on the bow, which would have done wonders to my snapped Achilles tendon.
I didn't have it closed all the way.
I'll be all wrapped up in that
Yeah,
ladder.
do you use that ladder much? Just did. There's such a large overhang that only in the early morning and the evening does the sun come into the boat. The rest of the time it's all shade. You can see that there's shade all around the glass. So it really makes a huge difference on how much, I guess, sunlight you're getting, especially here in Thailand. She's designed to single-handed sail, so everything is here. So we've got the winch on both sides, both electrical and actually manual. And then we have on the back the track system for the main. And then I loaded solar on the back so that we have not only solar but insulating factor. We have 6,000 watts. So net real on a normal day, you've got 3,500. You know, it depends.
And how much lithium have you got?
We've got 42 kilowatt.
You got 12 volts or?
24.
24 volts.
Yeah, I had 48 before and I went with 24 because the boat was designed in 24. Winches are 24, autopilot's 24. I really didn't want to go with a whole bunch of DC to DC converters. Plenty of layout, hangout area. Another thing that's very unique you'll see inside is this is glass, tempered glass from this location all the way to under the mast. So on the inside, when you're lower helm, you can take a peek up and see what's going on with your main. But for the most part, if the sail's up, I'm up here.
You're a fan of just leaving the alley exposed?
It's actually self-annealing. So once the salt water hits it, it builds up like 1/10 of a mil thickness that actually then repels everything. And never a blister. Yeah, I would never ever paint And we started to grind the paint off the back of this boat. You'll see many locations where we already ground it away. When I have the time, I'll grind those all off.
So all the water on the deck ends up down here.
It ends up in there in about 5 minutes, and then it runs overboard. And then there's a drain all the way around each engine hatch that also goes out the side of the boat. The only through hulls in this boat are on the back watertight engine compartment, which means that there are 2 tubes, and those tubes are welded to the hull. They come above the water line, and then the taps are off the tubes. So now if you get a plug, you can take the cap off and jam the shit out of it. And so now I'm putting air conditioning on the boat. I have to run lines from here all the way to the front. I had to drill through 14 stringers to get the one water line there. But I did not want to put a through hull in. So see that aluminum, the LE tube sticking out with the black cap on it? That's the only inlet on the boat. There's one on the port and one on the starboard.
And it goes straight to the strainer.
And then one goes to the strainer, the other one's shut off. So there's no through hull anywhere on the boat to bring water in. And that way, if you've got a problem with water, you only have one place to look. You look where the center bilge pump is. There's nowhere else to shut off. You don't have to screw around. So yeah, it's a little more work, but you know, everything's here. You snap something here and you're not going to sink the boat because this is also watertight.
So what's that there?
This is the Arco alternator. So this one is a 7,000 watt. She'll produce 6,000 watt at 100 C. She's made to run super freaking hot. But the regulator is external. This boat came from Africa with one, no generator. So that's when we decided that why screw around with tanks, extra motor, parts, etc. So an alternator on each side. A lot of people say, well, wait a minute, you're running your main engine. Well, so what? You know, it isn't like if you run the generator engine, you still got to rebuild it someday. So, but a lot of times you're going from anchorage to anchorage, or your motor's sailing a little bit, or you just pop it up to 1,500 RPM. And now you've got 150 amp, say around 5,500 watts, and you're charging your battery bank while you're going to the next anchorage.
And so you're an electrical engineer by trade?
Yes, yeah. So servo and robotics, I had an engineering company and did oil rigs for 8 years. I mean, I guess a serial entrepreneur. I'm always doing something. So this boat definitely keeps my ass busy.
So that can't lift the dinghy, can it?
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Yeah, so the line's attached here permanently, goes down into the water, through a pulley, back up here, and then over a pulley to the center. So it's now a 2-to-1 here. You've got like a 10-to-1 on the ratio of the gearbox.
Yeah.
So you can lift people, you know, here it's beautiful for dive tanks.
How many kilos do you think this can handle?
Well, we raised both dinghies and 4 people. So, I don't know, pick a number. There's a nylon bushing here, about this long, and the same nylon bushing halfway center.
Yeah.
So all the load is on those double bushings.
Yeah.
The boat has a lot of unique things, but this has been like our best use thing every day. So.
Yeah, nice.
But what I've done as well is I've modified and I've drilled holes and I've put pins. So now once I do get it all the way up, we slide the pins in, so it's never any load if the waves hit it or we get pooped. It's not relying on the ropes. You know? Enter at your own risk.
Hello.
You know the problem with 2 engineers?
How great is it in here?
This is spacious.
Spacious. Well, once we get the real refrigerator back in and we're not camping, it'll open up a little more.
This is so spacious. She's got a reformer machine in here. It doesn't get more spacious than that.
It's disguised as a bench.
We have dinghies with oars, and what does she get? She gets a rowing machine.
No, it's a rover.
Go ahead, you have to open it up. Come on.
Seriously?
Now we have to see.
Yeah.
It's a boat tour, it's not a gym tour.
We get so much shit with this. Look at
Here
this.
she goes.
Oh my god.
Who needs a dinghy?
This is relaxing. Oh, do you feel the fan?
Yeah.
Aircon as well?
Well, no, but the fan's down there.
See, I'm not an engineer.
We're gonna charge the lithium out of this. She can row for kilowatt hours.
What's the
Okay, you
YouTube
gotta
channel
row.
called? It's called
Oh, we are dawn hunters because we're always going at nighttime. We love to sail and travel at night and looking for the next dawn.
So interestingly, Yana is also a professional dog trainer, and the proof is right here with Raven.
Circle.
Cool.
Zigzag.
That's impressive.
So good.
So, as I was saying as well, this is all glass all the way across, but naturally in Thailand, you know, the last thing you need is sunshine. You can go outside for that. Because you're on the lower helm station, you flick on the lights, you can just take a look at your head sail and your mainsail, see what you're doing. But
Look at the boat of an electrical engineer.
I know.
There's always something going on.
oh wait, see, we can dim the lights that are built in. You know, so yeah, we built everything, and this is now the testing, because to get faders that work right on LEDs.
How long is the testing?
2-3 years. Who knows?
You could have hatched straight down into the ocean there.
That's the case the head doesn't work. the guys did that own the boat. They would sit here and fish. You weren't supposed to be fishing anywhere that, you know, you can't be fishing. And where all the fish hang out? Under the boat.
Dragging a big snapper or something up through his
Yeah, it's slopping around the floor.
It looks like you're ice fishing.
Well, exactly. We were joking we were going to put a toilet seat here. You know, and
I was thinking it's so handy.
just flip it down and yeah, right from bed to...
So this is obviously a big structural primary beam that you've got.
This is a 10 millimeter, 400 by 400 millimeter tube box, all the way from port to starboard and all the way from deck. Look at the thickness of the deck. That's insulation.
Oh, this is the insulation.
Insulation on the ceiling, that's why you don't feel any heat coming through. Insulation on the inner walls, on the inner deck, and insulation in between the ribs and the floor. So the boat is super quiet. We've realized that when you are at anchorage, the boat takes on the temperature of the water. So it might get warm in the daytime, but as soon as the sun goes away, the boat cools down almost instantly. So it's quite interesting that there's benefits of Alley that I had never imagined.
It's cooler in here now than our boat that's got like a little standalone aircon unit. It's literally cooler in here.
Yeah.
At anchor, it's surprising. You're never going to want to get out of that chair.
That is good. How's this viz though? Perfect.
Look at all the way around you.
What steering system have you got? Just hydraulic cables?
Dynamic cables.
Oh wow.
So you can actually feel the action against your rudders as you're sailing. And there's a separate cable system for the lower helm than the upper helm.
Oh,
so if
really?
you were to snap one down here, you just jump up top.
Redundancy.
So you always have redundancy. And the autopilot then is a hydraulic cylinder on the ram of the rudder. The windlass is here. And then your chain locker's here.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to go outside for bringing the chain back up. It releases from the center of the boat. That's why we've got a huge bridle, because that way all the weight is also midship.
Yeah.
And now you're not having all that chain way up in the front. This is the only bilge pump in the whole boat inside. There's a bilge pump naturally in the back engine room. So there's a water well here, goes down where the keel would be, and that's where the bilge pump is. So anything that would come into the boat all comes from all parts and ends up in this little well. So in here is the water pump, the bilge pump, and the waste pump for the shower.
So that paint in there straight onto the aluminium is original.
That's original.
9-10 years old.
So we have 450 liters of water and fuel on both port and starboard. And then we have the ability to transfer water from one side to the next to offset the balance of the fuel. If we want to run some fuel lower on one side or the other, we have that ballast capacity on both.
And you've got a fuel transfer system.
Fuel transfer system with Raycor, and then I added a set of day tanks in this boat, which is quite different for catamaran. But coming from the oil industry and shitty fuel, I have a 65-liter day tank on the port and starboard. So I pump fuel from the port or starboard into the day tank. That day tank is above the level of the motor. So now without even a fuel pump, the motor will run because it'll just go by drain. So I recirculate the fuel that goes through the Raycor into the day tank. So every time I leave, I fill up day tank with filtered fuel. So it really doesn't matter what has happened in the main tank when you're sloshing around and getting in some bad shit. So I did this more like exploration vessel. Her studio, which is behind you. Up here, I'm converting this one into the tool room. And then we have a watertight bulkhead door that goes into the sail locker. So if we've got to escape out the front of the boat, we've got that as an option.
Well, thank you for the tour, William. Really appreciate it.
Well, you know what? Get yourself an alley cat.
So we've just met properly today, and we've gotten along like a house on fire. So we're going to dinner tonight, so the conversation will keep flowing.
Oh,
But yeah, thanks for the tour. Appreciate it.
hey, phenomenal to meet you in
Yeah,
person.
man.
Thank you.
No worries. Subscribe to Dawn Hunters. I'll leave a link in the description below. Yeah.
Great.
So what do you guys think of these aluminium catamarans? Are they the way of the future? I personally am 100% convinced about that. So much so that I am finally ready to make one of the biggest announcements in the history of this channel. I'm sure it's blatantly obvious at this point, but I've been working on a new design for the last 2 years, and I can't wait to tell you all about it next Sunday. Cheers, guys.